Hey, hey. So listen, let me jump into this. I'm trying something different just because I want to, make sure that when certain topics hit my mind and hit my heart, I want to be able to speak on it without having to wait until I put on some makeup or until I'm camera ready. So I just wanted to come on to encourage anyone who may be in their healing season, like you went through some things or you've been going through some things, whether it's for, the last week, last month, last year, wherever you are in that process. I just want to encourage you and to say, hey, you know what? You're not alone. I know there are people who make healing look really easy and people who make going through look really easy because you may not see the tears that they cry because they cry them on the inside. And you may not hear their worries because they take their worries to God in prayer. And you may not see their stresses, because sometimes their stresses may come in the form of shopping, or their stresses may come in the form of, eating too much, or, just different ways that, once we're stressed, it's different things that we may do to ease that stress. Some people may start having sex randomly. Some people may, use drugs. Some people may drink. Whatever their vice may be, some people tap into those things to ease their stresses when they're going through, right? And I'm not here to tell you what to tap into and what not to tap into. That's not the message. The message is just real simple that, hey, we all have to go through some things, but on the side of going through, there is healing, meaning you can get through what you're going through, right? You can get through whatever you're going through. Now, I am here to encourage you to, try to go through in a positive light, because it's easy to adapt it's easy to adapt negative vices, and it's easy to go back to, ways that you may have ventured far from, because when we're hurting, those negatives tend to bring us a form of comfort. But that comfort is always only temporary, right? Because you're still hurt. Even after you had real good sex that night, you still hurt. Even after you had a real good, extra heavy, extra sweet meal, you still hurt after that. After you wake up from being drunk all night, you still hurt. Whatever it is that you're trying to escape from is still there, right? So it was only temporary. It was only temporary that it brought you some form of not having to think about it, right? So, like I say, I just want to encourage you all to pick something that is positive to aid you in the healing, because a lot of times when we pick those negative things, sometimes they can serve as like a stumbling block, and to make us kind of like go backwards in a sense and not forward. And anytime you in your healing process, the goal is always to go through it and get through it. And a lot of times, if you like me, like you just want it to be over real fast, like, hey, let me just go on and get through this thing. Like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of waking up thinking about this and that every day. I'm tired of this being on my mind and on my heart. You want it gone so fast, and so sometimes you just willing to do some things to get your mind off of it, as if doing those things is going to make it go away. Sometimes you're spending too much money. You going shopping. You doing whatever it takes to get a brief feeling of peace, of, a brief release from the heartache or from the worry. Anything that will bring you a release, you're willing to do. And I understand that, as a person, I truly understand that, because I I feel like there are some things that you can go through that truly are harder than other things. And it can really take something out of you if you're not tapped in. And for me, I have to be tapped in to God. Like, I really have to like go to him in prayer. I really have to go to him and give him this, these things that are on my heart and on my mind, because I'm the type of person that, like, listen, hey, things gonna get, hey, we gonna go through some things. If I'm hurt, I ain't gonna be the only one sitting up around here hurt. If my feelings hurt, hey, yours gonna be hurt too. Somebody's gonna be hurt, and not to say that that's the right thing, but that's my little vice that I struggle with. So I have to be really tapped in, because sometimes until I get my lick back, I don't feel right. Cause I feel like, hey, if my situation has to do with people, then I feel like, hey, you could hurt just like I hurt. You feel me? So, and that's not to say that it's right, but it's just me being transparent, Now, everything that you may be experiencing hurt-wise may not necessarily have to do with people, or may not necessarily be something that you can get your lick back on. It's, it could be something that, hey, you just have to deal with it. It's nothing that can be done to change the situation or to change the circumstance. You just have to go through and get through, so I understand that. I'm a person like everybody else. So I just want to, give somebody some encouragement and say, hey, listen, you can go through this. You can get through it. And I just encourage you to seek some positive routes, whether it's talking to somebody, whether it's, going by some water, give you some peace of mind, whether it's journaling, writing, whether it's just listening to some music and just piping down, calming down, whatever it may take that may be a positive outlet for you. Because, getting your lick back, it ain't always going to be positive. So I don't encourage that, but I understand it. I understand when people say they want to get their lick back, they feel some kind of way. They're not going to feel right until they let that person know, like, yeah, you had me messed up on a whole bunch of levels, like, I get that. And that may be immature. That may be an immature concept. And maybe, myself or other people who feel like that, maybe we have to grow out of that. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like in 5 or 10 years or whatever. I can just only speak to how, for me, it's always probably been like that. And, currently, and yes, I'm truly a believer that, you really have to put certain things in God's hands and go ahead and let him handle certain things. I'm truly a believer in that at the same time. But because I'm human, I also like to see you feel a little way, a piece of a way make me feel, if it's a person that, that, is contributing to me feeling however I'm feeling. Like I said, sometimes it's not always people. Sometimes it's circumstances that, hey, can't nobody bring you out that circumstance but God, and can't nobody get you through that but God. So on every level, it's different ways that your healing, can come, or that has caused you to need healing. But I just want to encourage you that, the healing is there, and do whatever you need to do in a positive way to get the healing that you need. On the other side of that healing is wholeness, and you can't get back to that.